Hello, everyone. This is the DNA Money podcast, and we're on episode 7 today.
Nice.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How you been?
Good. Pretty crazy week. I feel like everything changes, every day, honestly. With everything that is going on in the economy and in my personal life as well. So it's been good.
Yeah, so anything changed in regards to investments and stuff?
My personal investments, or
No, I mean that could be that too.
well, personal investments not so much. Honestly, I haven't bought any new
Did you sell
stock
anything?
Huh?
Did you sell anything?
I sold Target stock.
Didn't you just buy it?
I bought it like 2 weeks ago, and it went up by almost 9-10%. And I thought, okay, I don't think it's gonna go higher anytime soon, and I needed some liquidity, so I thought, okay, it's fine. I'm gonna sell it. So
what are you gonna use the liquidity for?
to buy a new couch to my apartment.
Smart investment.
Exactly. Gotta put my butt in some comfy cushion.
Yeah, gotta make
sofa.
more money
Yeah.
than Target
Exactly. You have to have a convenient environment around you to
make more money.
to make more money and to be high performance.
I'm not sure about that, but okay. A comfy couch doesn't sound like it's gonna increase your performance,
And we'll see.
Yeah, bets are open.
Yeah. But you got a new bed frame, so congrats on that.
Cool, thank you.
Did you sell any stock as well to get some
Nope.
liquidity?
See, I told you last time, or I think a couple episodes before, that I'm not buying anything now. I'm just gonna invest in my own stuff. So
No. Yeah. I hope you're not keeping money under the mattress.
under the bed frame now. So, but I'm actually keeping a lot of cash too. So gotta get rid of it, I guess. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I'll save money to buy a house this year. Maybe.
Nice.
I'm thinking about it. I don't know yet. But not as a primary residence, just as an investment.
Got it.
Yeah. So let's see.
So you're gonna try to time the market then?
No, it's just
No?
I'm saving money. It's whenever I get the money, I'll look for a deal. But I'm not certain yet. I'll probably I'm just saving money so just in case I don't figure out my own stuff.
Yeah.
Don't start a successful company or something, some successful project or whatever. In that case, I might buy an investment property and just do that. But I'm kind of doubting that, so maybe I'll use that money to fund my startup if it goes well.
Got it.
So
Yeah, I guess it's. I see. So when do you think you'll, or what does it depend on the decision of whether put it in the real estate or
it
put
depends
in your
on if
startup?
if one of my projects succeeds in the meantime. So I'm giving it maybe next spring. I'll see if anything that I started doing works, or if it doesn't, then by that time I might as well.
And you're referring to your personal finance application?
Yeah, maybe that, maybe something else pops up, but for now I'm focusing like 90% of my free time on that personal finance app.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm keeping my options open. Something can come around, because see, I never planned to do this crypto exchange thing.
Right.
And now
the
that
opportunity arrived. And
just one day I was like, oh, maybe that's gonna work, and we tried and it works, and we're making a little bit money on that. But if something like that comes up, then maybe I'll throw money at that. So for now, I'm not keeping cash just to keep cash. I'm putting money through this crypto exchange thing. So, but
Where with your crypto exchange, are you still what stable coin are you using? Is it still
I'm using a USDT again.
okay?
Yeah, I was using USDC for a little bit, but the thing is with USDC is that it's not as popular outside of
USDC
America.
is what is that again?
It's USD coin. It's Circle.
Oh, Circle. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it one of the decentralized?
No,
No?
it's
Okay.
centralized. I think they're even applying for a bank license. So
Oh,
it's
interesting.
the most centralized you can be probably. But yeah, these guys, they're very stable. Even when all of those tribulations were going on in the ecosystem, I mean, nothing happened really to the price of the USDC. But it's not as viable of a currency. So USDT is by
USDT
far
is Tether.
yeah.
Right? Yep.
So USDT is by far more adopted and used, especially around the world. So
Right. With Circle, then it's interesting that you're saying it's not as popular around the world, but it still was able to hold it at the good level, right? And it didn't depreciate.
yeah, I mean, people are pretty certain about Circle, in the sense that they can keep their promise of giving back the money. I don't know, like it's all, as I said before, it's all bullshit. I think, but yeah, people are certain that the USDC can hold its value, and the USDT is there are a lot of speculation if they're like investing in these papers or that papers, and we don't really know like where the money is at, but we don't know where the money is at with USDC either. Really, where the money really is.
Right.
So yeah, I'm using USDT. There are other stable coins, but I never hear about them really. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to name you. I mean, DAI seems like it's popular, but I don't see anybody like exchanging.
And it's decentralized, right?
Yeah. So with the thing with USDT, pretty much every fiat USDT fiat pair is already available to you. So you can take USDT, exchange it for euros, take euros, exchange it for USDT, buy Brazilian whatever currency they have, and with USDC and other coins, that's not as prevalent. But let's see.
Interesting. Yeah, no, and I know that there are certain, and we're going again into this crypto theme again, but I know there are several companies are being built that allow you to conduct this on-ramp and off-ramp, right, where you can change or connect your bank account to certain exchange, and then you can change fiat, whatever currency, local currency you're using, into stablecoin, and therefore enter the decentralized ecosystem. And they help you to off-ramp as well, meaning exchange, stable coins for the local currency as well.
Do they? For this, I haven't heard that they do.
So that's like on a high level. How they do it is different, because they are matching like people who
so
who
it's
have
an
this
exchange.
Exactly. It's an exchange, but I think they're matching people in local markets, in like local countries, the ones that are using the same currency.
Makes sense if you need
if you
currency,
need that particular currency.
Yeah, unless it's dollar, then I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but I've seen a lot of those startups, and I mean, there are very interesting integrations, and so like for example, if you go into Trust Wallet, you can buy certain coins through those third-party like integrations that do on-ramp, off-ramp, but it's like they charge too much, takes too long. Like I don't know. I haven't seen one that's very good. And
Yeah.
the way I was doing the on ramp is just through those exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
The or you can buy crypto on the street, but it's kind of expensive too.
And it's more time consuming.
I wouldn't say
Oh, because
that.
it's less. Oh, because like verification on those exchanges can take up to 3 days.
So let's say you have cash and you need cryptocurrency, then it's gonna be much easier for you to go buy it on the street than go deposit it into the bank. The bank's gonna ask you a million questions. Then from that bank you can have like on the West Coast at least you can only send money from like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. right through wire if you want it same day. And you
Oh,
can
that's
only do
because
it
of the because they're still doing it on the Eastern time, right?
Yeah, they do it on the Eastern time and they do it in the work hours.
Right.
And so it's only Monday to Friday. And they sometimes they might like raise some alarm in their system and your wire doesn't go through the same day. And if it's that's on Thursday or Friday, then you might not receive your like the exchange might not receive your money until like Monday.
Tuesday. Yeah, Monday or Tuesday of next week.
And it's all like it's easier to go buy on the street and do some transactions in crypto if you want to. But yeah, it's the regular banking system is very archaic and very slow, very limited. I think all of those limitations are coming to crypto. Certain systems are gonna pop up where so I think we're right now in like Wild West world of crypto. So whenever the crypto becomes like consumer driven, not the like investor speculators like illegal exchange, all that stuff. Whenever the consumer driven transactions are gonna be prevalent on those like blockchains, then there is gonna be so much like there's gonna be a lot of opportunities for startups and companies to create closed systems, very centralized that, or maybe they can figure out a decentralized way to to implement them, but to protect those consumers. And because right now like there's no if I spend money from my credit card, I can call a bank and say I didn't spend it and they will return me money. There's no way to do that in crypto right now. And that's the first thing. The second thing that we as consumers are used to vendors paying for the transactions. So if people didn't know, then whenever you swipe your credit card, the vendor pays like 3% on transaction.
Yeah.
So that's how
they pay to the payment processing systems.
Yeah,
Visa, MasterCard.
So that's of those 3%. There's like an entire economy of like those devices that they use to get
Process
the payment.
Then
the payment processors, then Visa, MasterCards, banks make money off that. Like everybody makes money off vendors. And in crypto right now, the consumer kind of pays for the transaction. So I think that might also change in the future. I don't know. Like whenever somebody tries to build like real Visa analog on blockchain.
On blockchain.
So, and an ability to call and get the transaction back. So there has to be a custody. Somebody has to have a custody of the money in between, like consumer and the vendor, for that to happen, or otherwise the vendor will have to be responsible to approve those returns. But if the vendor is fraudulent, then that's not gonna work. And then there's a lot of like consumer protections that exist today that we don't think about.
And was there already a big crypto company that was kind of looking to replace completely Visa or MasterCard?
I think Solana
Solana,
is
right?
kind of trying to do that. They have Solana Pay right now. Actually, with Solana, the transaction costs are minimum, so like they're 0.000 whatever
Right, it's
dollars.
almost
So
free.
consumer might not care about that, but then still the consumer protection laws and all that stuff still kind of an open question.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I I don't believe that like the crypto minds are gonna be able to explain consumers that this is cool and it's a future if there's no protections.
right,
And
right. And I think that's still the regulatory environment is definitely going to play a big role into this. And it's been what since it's been 5 or 6 years since like crypto became super big back in 2017.
mm,
And I remember how there were very early conversations about the regulations, and they're still ongoing, right?
yeah,
And another crypto bubble happened like 3 weeks ago.
did
Still a
it?
lot of money. Well, I mean, if you look at how much money was lost or how the prices went down,
Uh,
um,
crypto is volatile by
yeah.
default, so I wouldn't call it a bubble. I would call it a correction.
Well, in
I mean,
2017, would you call it a bubble?
2017,
2017,
of course.
when it went
Well,
down from
well, it went down from like 20 something to like
like
2.
20. Oh, you're talking about Bitcoin
Yeah, and
to
crypto in
two no
general.
to 2000?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and right now it's like came down what from 40 to 30. What happened? Like it
From
was at 60
60,
and then it
yeah.
was slowly kind of falling down to like 40 and was stuck at 40 for months and now it's like at 30 maybe.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So,
I
well,
mean it's not a
yeah, for ETH it was 50%.
maybe year
There,
to date, but I mean it's crypto.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Not even year to date. It's like the 50 from the 52 weeks high. If you
Yeah.
compare to that, it went down. But what's interesting is, I saw an article which was saying that right now the lobbying that's happening in the U.S. from crypto companies is actually higher than from defense sector, than from pharma sector, and from
Really?
like other sectors. Yeah,
Hmm.
which is insane. At least at this moment. So a lot of
Maybe it was a slow
crypto
day
company.
for other ones. It's hard for me to believe that.
Yeah,
I don't see a very strong players from like crypto. I mean, there are players with high valuations, but I mean to throw that much money. So like Philip Morris is
cigarette
a
producer,
cigarette producer, right?
tobacco.
And
Yeah,
so it's like funny to think about sometimes like oil, cigarettes, and all that stuff, and crypto. So crypto is all the buzz right now, but crypto companies, their revenues are like tiny, and then Philip Morris, I think they make like $100 billion in revenue a year or something like that. So like probably more than all the crypto companies in the United States combined
combined.
in
Yeah,
revenue. So, but the valuation of Philip Morris is going to be lower. But those guys can affect policymakers much better with all their
yeah,
money.
yeah. Well, that's because they've been around for such a long time,
Yeah,
right?
but they
And
also make
they've
like much more
yeah, they have a
cash.
lot of money. But I think with crypto, it's definitely gonna only grow. Um,
It is.
and
I'm just saying that how would they spend that much money on uh, lobbying and stuff? It sounds off to me, but okay.
yeah, I
If
don't
you
know.
say so,
The
I'll believe
number
you.
was 26 million. So I don't remember exactly how they were
Just
like
a slow
calculating
day.
it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like at this point, or um, yeah, maybe they divided by some certain time periods. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, because those guys they can make like if you read the news they can make a stat like look like whatever they want
yeah,
it to look like
yeah,
because well let's not go there. But yeah, I've seen one of the CNN just posted some article, and the stats were like insane. Like they would include like like stuff that's not relevant to the article at all, like into the stats, and then compare it to whatever numbers they wanted to compare to, and like
It's all about clickbait nowadays.
yeah, like it's an agenda and clickbait, whatever.
Yeah, but I think overall it's interesting that crypto companies are looking to work closer with government because they realize that it can't be a completely decentralized like anarchy, right, or whatever that was. The whole idea in the beginning, right, was to like disconnect from the government and kind of create their own system that can't be controlled by any centralized party.
I mean, to make sure that happens, you kind of have to work with government, I guess.
Yeah.
So they don't screw some screws that you cannot unscrew.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be smarter than just directly saying that we don't need any centralized authority here.
I mean, those decentralized currencies, once I started to kind of do those exchanges and trade them, you really like appreciate the flexibility of that and how you can just send money to like other country and receive money from the other countries like in a split second. Don't need to call like to verify and go through a million websites to like sign this, click this, and agree to this, and that's all gone now. So
yeah, no, it's definitely more efficient. So yeah, no, look forward to seeing like what's going to be the next crypto wave and what new solutions and the adoption that will happen over the next couple of years. I think it's going to be definitely something more tangible and something even more spread out and widely adopted than it is now. It's definitely interesting. But we've have here a list of the topics that we kind of want to discuss. So last week there were mixed signals and comments from prominent economists and investors, and I would say CEOs and investors about the upcoming, what they say, recession. And it looks like so Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO of JP Morgan, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, and Elon Musk as well. They've expressed their own concerns about the upcoming recession, what they call it, and I think Jamie Dimon has even corrected his firstly projected economy conditions as stormy clouds. He changed it to economic hurricane, and Musk at the same time, in his tweet, I think, or in his email to Tesla employees, mentioned that he has a super bad feeling about the economy.
This email is crazy. So to generate this much news from just one email, it's pretty insane.
And it's insane. I'm sure he understands it, but imagine whatever email you write to your employees, it always has a chance of being like on the front page of like Wall Street Journal and just being like a headliner for a lot of
I think he always
magazines.
What's great about that guy is he always doubles down. It's like the minute it was leaked, he was like, and just to clarify, and just doubles down super hard. Yeah, I mean, so the email you're talking about was about everybody has to come back to the office.
Yeah, so I guess in regards to economy, he was saying that the economy, he has a super bad feeling, number one, and number two is therefore he's looking to terminate for now the hiring process for all new hires. And in addition to that, he said that probably Tesla is going to fire around 10% of their whole labor force, or the total number of employees, which is I think 100,000 employees over the world. So we're talking here about 10,000 people laid off potentially.
Yeah, well, I personally somehow kind of like, I don't understand that level of insecurity about the economy. I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
think?
it's and again, as I said in the beginning, it's kind of mixed signals, right? So all this or a lot of the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies expressing concerns, but at the same time, I was reading about the new data in regards to jobs added in the past month, and it was around 320. I think it was 320,000, and which is by around 10% higher than what was projected by economists in the previous month. And so this was like a pretty good results because it beat the expectations. However, at the same time, this is the lowest increased number or the lowest amount of new jobs generated since the beginning of recovery of economy back in like 2020. So it is slowing down. And another data point that was shown is the fact that the wages do not grow as much now. So they still grow, but it's a slower pace.
Yeah, that wasn't my experience personally.
Mm.
I've seen that there are, so like, I mean, in tech, people were just throwing money around. So
Yeah.
this data might be lagging. I think next month they're gonna come out with the data that we like lost jobs. I think because there's so many
Layoffs.
layoffs and cuts, and I mean it's hard for me to understand since I never had a company with employees, right? So why would those companies hire so many people? And the second the interest rates went up, they just went crazy
Cutting
and
costs.
started
Yeah.
cutting. Why would you overextend so hard? I mean,
Well, I think from an investor's perspective, right? And again, for example, we tell to our startups, the ones that are, especially kind of coming out of this early stage and getting into growth stage, it's important for them to, or investors at least, are looking for these companies to accelerate really, really quickly. So, for example, one of our portfolio companies has raised their Series B round at of 130 million, and they started, hiring a lot of people. I think they went from 220, they want to go to like almost 300 people
yeah, but
in a
that makes sense if
year.
you're raising like a venture fund or venture round, right?
Right.
Because I mean that's why you're raising it to like grow like 5x in a year or whatever.
Yeah.
But for a big company, for public companies, for those late stage companies,
To hire more people and then lay them off,
yeah,
like you're
like
saying, why do they
why
do
would
that?
they do
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
But I mean, look at better.com. All those like late stage companies,
Mhm.
they're raising venture funding as well.
Yeah.
And they still want to accelerate the growth, so they'll hire more people. And then once once they understand that the growth or the revenues generated cannot cover the cost that were just added, they need to cut them off. And unfortunately, the first thing you do is you fire people, because that's like one of the highest cost most of the companies.
Yeah. I mean, I just never been in the position of like
Yeah. No, but I
managing
mean,
that.
this is like a valid concern, and um, I as well look at this as, and I see your point of why would you add that many workers? Why don't you grow more organically, where you know that this an additional person that added is actually needed within the firm, and we won't fire them if anything happens, because it was a conscious decision to make that hire. Whereas if you looking at like growth mindset, where you just have to growth at all costs,
Yeah. I
that's
guess.
that's inorganic, forced, and unfortunately results in this uh, cost cutting actions.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I just hard for me to understand. I mean, I see what you're saying with the like breakneck fast speed, and you kind of lose because it was clear that the since the inflation was going up, it was clear that they are gonna raise the interest rates, that the economy gonna slow down. It wasn't clear when they're gonna do it because they were like, "Oh, it's not happening. It's not happening." Like Jerome Powell was always like, "Oh, what inflation? Like, I don't know what you're talking about."
Transitory.
Yeah, it's ridiculous what the guy was saying, but it was kind of clear to everybody that that's what was gonna happen, and then the slowdown is gonna
happen anyway.
Yeah. So
I think it was all about the timing. Like nobody knew when exactly it's gonna happen, and now we're seeing all this. And well, honestly, we started seeing those layoffs way earlier, right? This year, we talked about it in our early episodes back in April, about Better.com and like other companies. And now I think it just progresses further. And we talked about how the investors are suggesting their companies to like again cut the cost significantly, save more cash, have a runway for almost 3 years, and just kind of. Even some companies were suggesting, or some investors suggesting, companies getting into like a hibernation mode.
Yeah, but see, whenever those CEOs say that, oh, we need to cut these many people, but nothing yet happened to their top line or whatever, it's kind of, all of those hedge fund guys and investors and investment bankers, they come on those CNBC and stuff like that to promote their narrative, but they might have like, so the Jamie Dimon, his bank can have short positions in something, and he's just like,
for
everybody
sure,
just dump it, and he's like, oh, it's stormy clouds, and he's like, oh, maybe it's gonna go down. He's like, nope, it doesn't go down. Let's change it to hurricane. Yeah, like close the short position, and then he the moment he's gonna close the short position, he's gonna come out and be like, okay, guys, let's go. The economy is great and all that stuff. So, and for Elon, it's like maybe he just wants to fire 10% of his people.
Yeah, maybe he just wants to
probably
improve the bottom line,
and he just wanna. He's very like he's a very strict manager, and he wants his people to perform at like 200% every time. So he might just want to cut 10% and have an excuse for it. So I mean, I don't think that's the sole motivation. I see that there are troubles in the economy, and people are getting laid off, and people are losing money, and maybe purchasing power is getting stripped away, of course, because there's just quantitative tightening, and then interest rates are going up, the mortgage rates are going up, everything's getting harder, but still, like, I mean,
it seems it may seem like they are increasing the panic on purpose. So I definitely see your points. Like they definitely could use it to their own advantage, right? And maybe make some hard decisions that would be critiqued by the population or by the markets. But here we have an excuse, right? And you can use that to
imagine Tesla coming out and just firing
all these
laying
people
off all these
when they're
people.
doing great, right? Because they are
and they would be shit on, and then people like wouldn't buy their Teslas. Maybe I don't know.
But at the same time, on the other side, if they don't make these decisions, and let's say if they keep, if they don't take any actions, and then something bad actually happens, the economy actually goes down, they'll be fucked.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying that sometimes those talking heads coming out, like there is this guy, Peter Schiff. I don't know if you've seen that guy. He's a gold investor, and the guy Robert Kiyosaki. He's a gold investor too, and so all they do on their shows, and whenever they go to talk on CNBC or Bloomberg or whatever,
they promote
news
gold.
network, they promote that, like, doom and gloom, like everything's gonna fail every time. Like I've been I've been coming across their videos for like 6 years, maybe. Like sometimes, what are those guys think? Because they're kind of popular in the
Yeah.
economical YouTube kind of space, and then you call there, you see that they're just like, okay, it's doom and gloom and everything's gonna fail. Dollar is fake, and it's. I mean,
Yeah. They are just promoting their own like investments and
yeah,
and
and their own companies,
kind of on
investment companies.
it's kind of on a on the bigger scale of what those crypto investors were doing, right? Like some celebrity comes out like, oh yeah, I invested in this coin. You guys should follow because it's amazing and blah blah blah. This is this is just on a lower scale of what like the people you described are doing.
Yeah,
Kinda.
they're just. I mean, it's the same kind of scam. It's like, oh, sell everything and buy gold because I sell gold, and then because gold is valuable for some reason, it's like worthless, pretty much. Like it's too expensive to use it in industrial space. I mean, some uses are still kind of relevant, but generally it's like too expensive to use it industrially, and it's it, my thought about gold, it doesn't really have any value.
Well, I think it has value because it's scarce, right?
Whatever does that mean? I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
what
And I don't know
scarce,
much
whatever.
I don't know much about like now how I guess does Fed hold. I mean, it's not tied to the dollar is is obviously not tied to the to gold anymore, right?
Yep.
So does Fed have a gold storage?
I don't even know. Maybe they do. Maybe, probably, just for the sake of it.
Yeah,
I
because
don't know if Fed does. Maybe the federal government does.
because or federal government. Because I remember when in 1930s when like this gold standard was introduced and when gold or dollar was packed to a gold, Roosevelt so it was probably in 1920s, probably during the Great Depression. Basically, they collected all the gold across the U.S., like literally took all of it, put it in one big warehouse. Obviously, exaggerating here, and or simplifying things here. And the government was owning all the gold, and they set the price of that metal because they had it, and it became like scarce to other people or to other institutions. So it's all obviously artificially driven.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, who would buy gold? Why would you need gold? Like, it's a horrible means of storing value or transacting.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there are people who are making money off gold and stuff like that, but for like humankind, it's worthless, pretty much. So.
Yeah. And I guess going back to so you were saying about those guys that are promoting gold. So I'm just blanking out here.
Yeah, I was just saying that Jamie Dimon might be a crook too, but I mean, I think Jamie is pretty. He's like a legendary CEO, right? So maybe he knows something, but he might also have alternative motives.
Yeah, and he talks more. He talked more about quantitative tightening, what you mentioned, and also the ongoing war in Ukraine and how that affects the food and oil and gas prices. And with quantitative tightening, it's actually quite interesting because we've heard a lot over the past 10 years about quantitative easing. When Fed was increasing basically a dollar supply in the system and therefore liquidity. Now on the opposite, what they're doing is they're taking liquidity from the markets, right? Meaning that and I think that's happening through usually through either buying or selling treasury bonds.
Yeah, so what happens is they have those bonds. And so what they will do is they will just sell these bonds to the market. They'll collect the cash for it.
And they don't reinvest it.
Yeah, they burn that cash pretty much.
Yeah.
So there's there are bonds in the market that are kind of slow and they slowly collect a percentage, whatever. But then, since they don't buy them anymore, that the market has to compete for those bonds, and then so there's less liquidity buying power in the economy, and whatever, all of that. If it all went over your head, whatever, forget about it. Doesn't matter. It does matter, but I mean,
and I guess it's done to slow down the inflation. That's the primary goal. But I guess no one knows exactly what it's gonna, how it's gonna turn out, because I think this is done for this. The quantitative tightening is done in just for the second time in the past 50 years, from what I've read.
I don't know.
Some articles say that it's happening for the first time in modern economy history.
I'm not sure about that. I remember they were tightening like 5 years ago or something, or they were talking about doing that. I'm not sure, but
I need to check it out.
If you read that, it must be true, right?
Yeah. No, I saw it in two articles, and they're gonna decrease the supply by $80 billion per month until mid 2024, I think. So that's the strategy, and we'll see.
Okay.
And
gotta hold cash then. Cash is king now.
Cash is king, yeah. And Jamie Dimon was even saying that it's not. It is kind of dangerous. It could result even in negative interest rate, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, but I guess going back to Tesla and their, the employees layoffs that are happening are definitely terrible. But in Musk's email, he also said that he basically told his employees to either come back to the office or resign. And he said that the higher your position is, the more visible your presence has to be. And that's why he's sleeping in Tesla's factory early on, or Tesla's office early on.
Yeah, but so his initial email was to executives.
Executives, yep.
Yeah, so, but everybody took it and ran with it as if he told everybody to be in the office. I don't know if that's even true. So the email was to executives, and the executives have to be in the office. He also mentioned that the executives have to set up their offices because I guess they have this power to rent a space or whatever and set up operations whatever they want, and so they're responsible for that. He told them to set those operations close to where they managing the people. So, which was pretty funny that he was like, "Oh, you're doing HR from out of state for Fremont factory. Stop doing that. Move to Fremont." Which was pretty funny and interesting, how that will happen. So I guess some executives that are responsible for that HR being done for probably some VPs or whatever at Tesla that are responsible for Fremont factory were like, "Oh, we're moving to cheaper place," and they set up an office there.
So they wouldn't work out of headquarters or any dedicated Tesla offices. You're saying that they would rent out just some random office.
Looks like it. I mean, it's a huge company, right? So you cannot make those decisions by yourself. You give those executives power to decide where they want to set up shop. I think that's a pretty reasonable progressive move because it's $1 trillion company. It's
not anymore.
Whatever.
It's at 700 million now.
But yeah, it's still so. That's insane.
Very close to $1 trillion company. No, it is, and I've heard from many engineers that either worked at SpaceX or Tesla that in terms of freedom, yes, Musk is very, very demanding and very strict, but if you're an engineer and you're just passionate to build and to invent, he has very reasonable budgets and freedom that he gives to those guys, right? So he's whatever you need, we'll provide you. You just have to build and you have to deliver.
Yeah.
And so I've heard mixed feedback about, working at both Tesla and SpaceX. But I think there is more positive things or positive words coming out of like engineers.
Makes
mouth.
sense. I mean, they get to work on very exciting projects and deliver something that's revolutionary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that has to be
Paradise for them for sure.
Yeah, like imagine you ship some systems and I mean, and you get into your car and you use it and like everybody around you probably owns Tesla and they like I mean
Yeah.
same with not exactly the same with like iPhones and stuff, because in iPhones you can like work on like tiny features and nobody will ever know. But
I wonder if for software engineers, for example, do they get the same satisfaction when they build up an app or a software feature as opposed to like building hardware and tangible things?
yeah, I never built like hardware, but I can tell you that with software, it's some software is more exciting to build than other,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm kind of in the space where I'm building software for mostly like internal use, so like enterprise software, and this kind of software is not used by as many people. It might have like crazy economical
value.
impact,
Yeah.
but there's no like happy users everywhere like telling you how they like the features and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I feel like with enterprise SaaS, the objective is very different, right? It has to work like perfectly. It doesn't necessarily have to be pretty, right? It just has to be like functional and convenient to use.
Yeah.
As opposed to with consumer focused apps or soft, like the UI and UX is super important.
It is. It's it's different. It doesn't even have to work perfectly, to be honest. In enterprise,
It just has to work.
It has to work and deliver value.
Like 90% of time.
Yeah, I mean, so in enterprise space, it's kind of nuts how bad the software usually is, and there is so much that can be done there, and like there's so much opportunities in consumer software. It's kind of better, I think, right now than in the enterprise software. But coming back to like him telling everybody to go like in person,
Musk telling.
to the offices. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, because you're working remote. I'm more in the office pretty much all the time, and so I've been back in the office since mid 2020. It's like honestly never really left it, maybe for 2 to 3 months. But my company is very small, right? So I'm with a venture capital fund, and we have like 3 to 4 people in the office. So I feel like we need to be in person most of the time, just because the team is small, and it's very important to have that, like even like really close relationship, and to be always in touch.
I feel the same way. If he only tells executives to come back, then that makes a lot of sense too. I feel that the decision makers have to be in closer touch with each other, because there's a lot of context lost by doing Zooms and stuff. Like if we all were in the office, you could just come like walk over to that person and just ask them. But that's true for startups, small companies, and like maybe up to 100, 200 people. But whenever I was working for Microsoft, I wouldn't say that going to the office made any more sense than staying home. And actually, I would say that contacting somebody from home would be easier than
in the office,
than doing it in the office.
Because
like Microsoft campus in Redmond, it has like hundreds of buildings. There's like thousands of people working in each of them, maybe hundreds.
Yeah.
But and so like I was in building 42, then I was in building 43, and like you don't really like
meet
even
people.
our team. We so we had an engineering team was sitting close together. It was kind of good and all, but we had our project manager was in another building. Our designer was in another building. Like
I see.
so at that point, it didn't make any sense to be in the office, to be honest, because the decision maker is even like they are
in another
in our galaxy.
City. Yeah.
Probably in a city, maybe in another country too. With the Microsoft.
Yeah.
So.
No, it is. Yeah, it is kind of stupid that.
But for executives, I'd say maybe it makes sense for them to be in a building, like in one building, and for all those department heads at least talk to each other.
Yeah, and sometimes, so for me, when I work, even on a daily basis, I'd have this small like decisions that I have to make, and I'd still like clarify them with general partners of the firm, and even though they are like a call away always, but it is always easier to like communicate that in the office because you sit in the same office, you just ask a question, they respond to it very quickly, and then you act on it right away. Whereas if you work from home, you'd have to give them a call, and they might not be available right away, or send them a message and wait for some time for them to respond. So there's like definitely more delay. But on the other side, what I've noticed is when I'm in the office, it's like they would be busy with something else, like let's say on the calls. But on the other side, if I'm working from home and I give them a call, like they respond, not always right away, but most of the time they respond almost right away. And it's like easier. The conversation is more efficient over the phone than like in person, because you can just chit chat and discuss like talk about different BS. Whereas here you just on point, like asking questions they need answers to, and then taking action.
Yeah, what I found is in person is much better for communication, but not always. So.
And you've been working remote for
a long time.
For a long time.
I've been working remote for I'd say a year and a half. Maybe a year and a half now. I've been working like hybrid before, so it's nothing new for me. But working remote, it's kind of it's good and bad, and
because from what I guess I'm seeing, like I don't see you working, right, because we meet on weekends, but still I guess so you joined this new company 3 months ago, right? Or like
actually half a year.
Oh, half a year ago. Okay, so it's been half a year, and you never met anyone from your team in person.
No,
you met them previously because they were at your previous company, right? But the new guys that you're working with, you never met them. So I'm just curious, how does that feel?
It feels fine. I mean, actually we just our team just hired the two new engineers, and both of them are in LA area. So if I really wanted to, I could meet up with them. One of them is in Santa Barbara, and the other one is like by the Beverly Hills, like Lakewood. I don't remember.
But you guys don't? Are you looking to meet with them, or is it like
maybe
if I'm in town or in that area, then maybe
one of them is actually doing the Muay Thai.
Oh, nice.
So he invited me to come to like one of his classes. So maybe we can go and and kick some ass or get punched in the face, but whatever. So maybe I'll do that. He I guess he said that they do BJJ, so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Muay Thai, and something else, just boxing maybe.
He does all three martial arts?
Yeah, so I guess it's mixed martial arts club kind of.
Interesting, like MMA?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So Yeah, maybe I'll do that. But other than that, I mean, I see their contributions to code and comment on that, and they
Yeah.
comment on my code, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's the tooling of software engineers is pretty good. It has been pretty good for like distributed work for a long time now. So
Yeah. No, that's cool. Because what I'm seeing is, I mean, you again work from home, and like once, I guess what's cool is that you have a lot of, maybe not a lot of, but you have more free time, because as soon as you're done with your work, you can
Mhm.
work on like other projects,
yeah,
and you can, again, that personal finance app that you're working on, and then the podcast that we're doing now, and it. I remember talking to my friend, and he read this book of Tim Ferris, right? Who wrote the 4 Hour
4 hour
Week.
week.
Yeah,
I never read it.
I never read it either, but he was telling how, and it was written like 10 years ago, I think, or even earlier
Maybe.
than that. And the book describes how you make your boss or manager
Mhm.
to let you work remotely, and how you start doing that. Like first, you can like take you're saying that you're sick, but you're like still working, so you would work from home for a couple of days, and you come back to the office, and then maybe you take some basically what how it is described from what I understood is taking more and more days off, and at the same time consistently delivering results, and show to your manager that you can still do your work very well, and then and therefore you can almost like work from home all the time. And he's saying that book how you can be more efficient with just get your work done, and then start working on side projects that you have, and therefore keep your like main source of income, and at the same time developing, or either again your project or your business or something like that. But in this new reality, it is way easier, because you don't have to, in most of the companies, you don't have to prove anything to manager, right?
Most of the companies, you still probably work. To be honest, you probably work on site, and we're kind of in our own bubble with the tech industry that we get to work from home.
Yeah, I guess
Most work still
yeah.
done in person.
That's
like
true.
People working delivery jobs, working retail, warehouses, real estate. It's all
Yeah, I guess
construction.
I'm referring more to like office
Yeah,
office work and
because
tech industry. That's a good
gotta
point.
come out of the bubble sometime. But
That's
yeah,
a good point.
yeah. I guess that's interesting tips. Maybe I should read the book. I heard a lot about it. I never got to read it.
Yeah, I don't, sorry to interrupt, but I don't like the name, like 4 Hour
Yes,
Week.
the same thing.
I'm
I
like, I
didn't
don't
wanna
like,
say.
I don't want to just work 4 hours a week, because I know that's not gonna lead to real results.
I guess that's not
And
what the book is about. But then I was like,
Yeah.
4 hour work week, and everybody talks about the 4 hour work week, and it kind of makes it kind of. I feel kind of pushback that I want to give to, like, oh, who wants to work 4 hours a week? It's just
Yeah,
not enough.
like if you're, because it basically gives you a signal that like you can be lazy,
yeah.
you can do nothing and still become like
So it's
rich,
a
or
controversial topic, I
Yeah,
guess. I mean,
yeah.
the title of the book,
Yeah.
but then I guess the book is not about working 4 hours a week. It just, yeah, it's just a clickbait, big clickbait.
It's still appealing to masses, so maybe we're more of a exception of the rule, from the rule.
I mean,
I'd like to think so.
maybe people just read the book and don't judge it by its cover,
By
and
its
we
co-
do.
by its title too. No, for sure. Cool. Yeah, and again, like for me, I guess I'm working in person, and it's I'm working in person, but at the same time, um, I have a lot of calls with like startups, with startup founders and companies, and those are happening remote still. So even though I'm in person with my with my coworkers and colleagues, but I don't get that personal touch with like companies that we are looking to invest in, at least in the beginning. Ideally, we meet each other before making an investment in the companies, but yeah, and it's so weird when you meet a person that you've been talking to, let's say for several months over Zoom, and excuse me, when you meet them in person, it's just first of all, they behave differently.
Mm.
Because especially if you meet, for example, at an event where there's like way more people, and you can see how they're behaving.
Do you behave different?
I do behave differently.
Or probably
I
do you
don't
just
know.
don't
I think
notice?
still differently, but it's not as a big of a difference
Mhm.
as some people do.
Mhm.
Because some people are not comfortable with, they could be more introverts rather than
Mhm.
extroverts, and you can see that right away. And some of them could be like the physical appearance is different. Like some of them
Mm.
could be taller or shorter or like bigger or smaller. That's funny as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And so generally, what kind of impressions do they give away? Like,
In general, most of them are, I'd say. Well, I want to say most of them are positive, but I don't know if that it'd be true necessarily. Honestly, it's probably 50-50. Depends on the industry as well, right? So we invest in more deep technologies, which is really complicated, bordering sci-fi companies in the products that they're developing, right? So space technologies, robotics, that kind of stuff. And founders there usually, or most of the time, come from engineering backgrounds. And I don't want to, do stereotyping here, but most of them are still like introverts rather than extroverts. And if the founder has an engineering background, they're great at building product and developing it, but they're like less, or might not be as good at communication or selling stuff. So a lot of times when you meet this like scientist or people with technical backgrounds, in person they behave more, let's say they're more reserved. Yeah. Whereas I guess if you invest in some, let's say, social media companies or consumer-facing brands or products, like the CEOs, they are likely to be way more sociable and more.
Really?
I think so. At least, and that's true from my experience, honestly. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That the outgoing people. I mean, those are not always the technical people, right?
Yeah. And they're most of them are non-technical. So they would have a CTO who writes code, if we're talking about software startups, and CEO is just goes around, pitches, sells his company, raises money, and does a lot of talking and all that stuff. So while technical people are way more direct and honest, there's like the people with non-technical background, they tend to be more like they wouldn't tell you things straightforward in a straightforward way. They would just go around it, or you would have to read between lines. They are way better at communicating like bad news, let's say. Not making it not sound as bad as it actually is. So it is interesting to see that change, or the difference, I should say.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to touch on our podcast updates real quick?
Yeah. So I think we have like 100 views total.
Total for
the last couple of
5 videos.
Yeah, last couple of videos they bombed. Kinda. I feel like somehow one of our videos is doing. I mean, none of them are doing well, really. But one of them is ahead of others, has like 50 something views.
Yeah, 57 or so.
57 views. Crazy.
The last two were around 10 and 20, I think.
Something like that. And so the one that's doing pretty well is around homeless people. So yeah, I think there are we popped in some searches and stuff like that for the homelessness. I guess that's a big issue right now.
Yeah, big issue, non-sexy topic though.
Yeah,
I should say.
Depends how you look at it. Yeah, every
for me, no matter how you look at it, it's not sexy at all.
If you put on your media mind and if it's popping, then it's sexy, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go outside, there's like homeless everywhere, so it makes sense why it would be kind of popular. Then other videos, the first one is doing somewhat okay, and then the new ones are not doing okay at all. There was also some issues with the camera in the previous episodes where everything was like overexposed, overblown. For some reason iPhone 12 cameras just you need a certain way to export it to computer, to import it then into Adobe Premiere. It doesn't work straight out of the other box. But what else?
Yeah, I think so. We didn't buy any new equipment. So I think we're pretty much all set for now in terms of equipment, and it looks like we're getting into the second stage where we are would be focusing more. Well, first of all, of content, and I think it's always like a work in progress. But also promoting stuff, right? Even though we've been adding like bookmarks in the videos and dividing them by topics and by minutes, I think we haven't spent too much time on producing like a clickbait titles or a right description. So I think we'll be looking into how to make it convert more clicks, right, and increase the retention rate as well. So that's the primary objective.
I guess the best strategy right now is, from what I hear, is to like cut the clips and then cut it into shorts, do all the TikTok reels, shorts things, and then upload them like multiple times a day, and like volume right now is it's what's gonna like generate a lot of traffic, and maybe we should try that, but it's so time consuming, and I'm not ready to hire a producer for that too, so it's
maybe someone from if we have any viewers or subscribers, if someone's looking to help us, we're
just
always
upload it to TikTok, whatever.
We're always open to those offers. But I'm always like in between like quantity and versus quality. I know a lot of big bloggers and media guys, they kind of bunking on the quantity of the content, right? They'll like release stuff every day and then hope that something will blow up and then kind of drag along all the other videos and content that you have. I'm still like inside. I like still want to produce like high quality content, but I understand that it's probably not the right strategy.
See, we don't really need to produce more content. Content in a sense of like more clips maybe, but we don't need to record more videos and like sacrifice quality or whatever. We just need to pump up those shorts and stuff. So
at least have to try that. Cool. No, I think we'll definitely work on that. And
definitely maybe.
Awesome. I think that's pretty much it for today's episode.
That's a wrap. Right? Thank you everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, and share.
Comment.
Share, comment, do everything.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.